There's a lot of people with really good intentions that do want to do right by their client. They just don't know how. It's such a complicated world. When you get outside the comfort zone of a fully insured spread, where you're really just commoditizing the whole transaction, and you get into the complexities of self-funded, there's more than just looking at bottom line rate. What do you think advisors are missing when they're evaluating different stop loss carriers?
Stop loss contracts are complex documents. And recently we installed a stop loss contract that was actually through a captive, where the employer, who happened to be an engineer, was very detail oriented, and we spent 5 hours literally taking that contract apart one paragraph at a time. And he not only wanted to know what it said, he wanted to know what it meant. And when we got to the end of the conversation, his commentary was, now I get it. I understand now what my exposures are and what we have done here, and now I understand why we need to control the value of our claims, because this ultimately is going to keep my costs down over a period of time. The stop loss contracts have razor blades in them, and that is, you can get cut really fast if you miss something. The other thing is, the stop loss contract and the administrative services agreement from the TPA need to be harmonized. And if you haven't done that, then you have left yourself open. The other part of the stop loss contract is it reflects the fiduciary responsibilities of the employer to manage the assets of the fund, which not a lot of brokers or advisors are even putting their head around that yet. But the stop loss contract, for example, that runs out after 18 months and doesn't provide payment, has marginalized the fiduciary responsibility of the employer, and now they're on the hook for the money, but they have to account for that to their employees, because the employees have paid money into the plan, so technically there's a problem there. There are many things inside of a stop loss contract that they get you in trouble, and you need to read them carefully, understand what they say, and then understand how they're going to be executed. And then finally, the question is, who stands behind them? Because there are interpretations that take place on insurance contracts that can be in favor of the employer or in favor of the carrier. Let's bifurcate the market for a minute. Let's talk about there's three very, very distinct marketplaces and market segments. The first market segment is the under 100 life group, okay? Say under 50 lives. In the 50 lives, it's a price conversation. It's a level funded contract if it's self-funded at all. And it's still predicated on whatever the claims look like and the medical conditions or the medical risk profile of that group. And ultimately, that small employer is in survival mode, which means they're looking for the lowest price, and they don't care how they get there. So that segment of the marketplace is strictly about price. That's 96% of all the businesses in America. The second segment is the 50 to 500 or the 100 to 1,000 life. That's the mid-market, et cetera. That's where a lot of us play. And that is where you have an entrepreneur that's got some kind of an infrastructure in a business, and that's where relationships matter. That's where you have an advisor that can go in and make a meaningful difference, and they can be self-funded or level funded. But that segment of the marketplace, which is about 2.5% of the total businesses in America, are embracing self-funding. I mean, they are the ones that are really taking that hard, long look, and they're looking at it going, whoa, this is something we absolutely need to do. And then there's the over 1,000. Those people are all self-funded and have been for years. Okay, that's the institutional world, and that's a transaction that involves larger agencies with unbundled environments where they take apart every single piece of the healthcare space. They understand fiduciary liability. They have in-house counsel. They have HR departments. They have finance departments. You're literally dealing with a team of people, and the sales cycle for that contract is a 24-month. If you're going to go after one of those, you spend 24 months just trying to put it to bed. So the small group, which is 96%, is price-driven. The second group, which is the 100 to 1,000, is a relational market. That's where the relationships matter. When you get over 1,000, it's now an institutional conversation.